Hello teacups, what's brewing? Welcome back to the channel. Things are going to run slightly differently today. We are going to be discussing Foodie's live Howdy Beezers, and we're probably not going to be, well probably, I know we're not going to because I sat down here and turned on this camera. We're not going to be doing my usual minute by minute react. I've cut out some clips from the first part of the live. I didn't use the whole thing, so the clips I have are indicative of the attitude and content of the stream, but not exhaustive. If you want to go and watch it, it wasn't that long by her standards. You can definitely go see the original yourself if you prefer. I'm going to just probably insert the clips after I finish talking right now, and then we're just going to discuss them in general. But the reason I wanted to have it as a clip instead of a little thing in the corner is because I've also clipped out the comment she was responding to at the time, because a lot of this was discussion with her chat. And when I say discussion, I mean mostly lies, but discussion with her chat. And it's easier if you've got the comment next to it. So the first part we're going to look at is sort of around her location and where she is. And the second part is the drugs she claims not to be on. Okay, so let's just get into the first collection of clips. It's only a couple of minutes.
Coming from an undisclosed location. Just like that Elvis guy. I can't say where I am, Brooke, but I am in a safe location. Hold on, guys. I put on a little bit of lipstick for you, but my teeth are yellow. No hamburger eyes. Okay, hamburger eyes, I get the idea. My teeth are yellow, I know. If you want whiter teeth. Okay, Beezers, listen. No. It was me. It was Sam. Yeah, guys. No, I told you, like, I want to keep some things in my life private, so that includes getting up in some. No, I want to go live because I want to be able to go live when I want to, but also have a life, or I don't know, maybe. Yes. No, I swear, Plora. I'm gonna set my machine up and go to bed soon. Yeah, I am as much as I can be, Brooke. Basically. Right now, so that's the thing, Ashley, because look where it got me, you know, in trouble. It's my own fault, but I wasn't careful. It's not that I mean to pique curiosity, like I know it would, but it's just I'm not at home all the time now, so, and I'm going to be moving, so my reality is going to be different. Has nothing to do with being with a man or anything like that. It's just my life.
So the first thing that jumps out of this entire live is the attitude. Now, initially, when you hear the first burp, which, by the way, beautiful, match made in heaven, she did not expect that noise to happen. She thought she was gonna not get away with it. She knew there were gonna be a lot of questions, but she was living for that fact. She was like, I'm going to stir up this hornet's nest enough, and it's going to be glorious. And so she's got this very gleeful attitude through this whole thing, but she wasn't expecting, I think it's Egyptian dude, she wasn't expecting Egyptian dude to then be quite so obvious in his movements. And but she's not sad about it, because it's all just fuel to the fire. It was very reminiscent of, okay, little family story. I'll try not to take too long with it. I've got a twin brother and sister, and they're significantly younger than I am. These are children, we're not talking adults doing this. There's a 30-year age gap. So, twin 1 and twin 2 troll each other like you wouldn't believe. And there's one thing Twin 1 does that Twin 2 has absolutely no defense over, where she will take something obvious, something that it's clearly undeniably fact, and she'll just go, no, it isn't. Just because he will lose his shit every single time and she knows it. Yeah, and it's an incredibly powerful moment for her. And she doesn't want anything. She doesn't achieve anything. She gets punished for it because it's, while I fucking love it, I fucking love the fact that she is a blonde cherub with a candy-coated troll center. I love it. But it's behavior you manage, not encourage. So we do need to teach her that there are limits to that instinct to just want to watch the world burn, which we're still instilling in her. But it's one thing her brother is defenseless against because he doesn't have that part of him that allows him to go, well, that's silly and I'm just not going to do it. So when he goes in and says, Mom says you need to bring the dog downstairs, we're going for a walk, and the dog's asleep on her feet in front of him, and she'll go, dog's not here. And she just dead-eyed, dog's not here. No. And he loses his shit every time, and she lives. She lives for it, and oh my God. The point of this story, is, aside from a charming, if slightly psychopathic aside, is that Foodie feels the same. She's not sorry that she wasn't necessarily planning, but she's not sorry that he's making more noise because it's all just adding to the fever of the power she feels she has in this situation. She's so excited. No, I swore to you I was going to keep it private. No, it's all very important that I don't share these things, but I'm going to go live from his fucking bed and I'm going to giggle with glee as you beg me for information, and it's all hitting the very similar parts in her brain. There's been no emotional growth from childhood there in a statement that shocks the world, I'm sure, but it's exactly the same thing. The full-out troll, I know this is completely incorrect, but man, am I enjoying it. So then we go on to the identification? No. So then we go on to the identity of the person involved. She was questioned many times on if it was Dom. And I believe it is Dom. Because actually one of the moderators made this point. She was saying, oh yeah, I'm going to unpack my CPAP machine and then I'm going to go to sleep. And she was saying this in front of the person because the person was there. At one point, I think they were actually next to her on the bed. They could clearly hear what was going on. And the moderator, whose name I can't remember, was it Savage Keyboard? No. Whoever it was, I'll put the comment up at some point on the screen. And they made the point, well, she wouldn't be comfortable enough with a new guy to mention it or bring it out, whether she does or doesn't, or spends the rest of the night getting high. But she wouldn't have mentioned it, it wouldn't be a thing. Also, we get a lot of boob muting during this live as she's like, oh, trying to cut it, but you know, really just fueling the fire. Where she moves the camera away so you can't see her, she mutes a lot, like every few minutes. But we see it's clearly not her bedroom, it doesn't look like a hotel room. There were guys' clothes in the closet and the lamps don't match the hotel she was in last time because I'm that bitch and I went and checked. She does appear to be quite close to the floor when she turns the camera, so it could well be a mattress. There is no visible headboard. There are arguments to be made for this being Dom. So the second part of this is then the drugs. The drugs she's claiming absolutely not to be on. It's worth noting that her demeanor is very, very different than when she's been home alone, smoking and doing whatever else. She seems faster, she seems more present, which I realize is not a high bar compared to how whacked out she was on other stuff. Her pupils seem fairly large. Compared to, other times, she isn't in a bright room right now, but she is holding a phone, and having that nearby would shrink her eyes. The light from the phone would do that. I mean, you can see my eyes right now, they are not huge. Yeah, I do have a light. It's not bright. I I do not look the way she looks in this stream. I'm going to play the clips where she is discussing with her chat the drug use, because chat is questioning her. Karate Joe is losing its mind. Chat is questioning her. So let's put those clips in here.
I don't think so, Joe. Quite the opposite. 100% opposite. I want an apology, Joe. I'm just joking. No, you're imagining things for 100%. It's like opposite. I know, Punisher, but I'm not. Not for the one thing, anyway. I'm giggly today. Yeah, I'm just like myself right now. Like, no, at all, Flora. No, I'm not. No, Joe, I swear. Grandma, on my grandma, on everything. Everything dear to me.
So as you can see, she was challenged about the drugs a lot in the chat. The chat was not having it. But she was challenged a lot, and she was again and again and again, no, no, no. No, it's not the case. Now, I did clock at 26:33 was the timestamp I clocked, where I could very, very visibly see white specks on her nose. So feel free to go check that out if you want to. Just Saying also posted pictures on Twitter showing very clearly there was some kind of residue, and interestingly, residue in different places than the one I saw in the timestamp. So it's moved and it's changed with time. I don't know exactly where her screenshot came from in terms of the timeline of the video, but it's something that moves around, and she's been muting a lot, and then she moves and then she comes back, and there are rather suspicious sounds in the background that sound like sniffing and things like that. And yeah, it seems pretty definitive that she's taking something and actually actively taking it. She does at one point get called out for that and say, I don't have white, it's dry skin, which was her go-to before, which, yeah, theoretically could be, but it seems to move around an awful lot for dry skin. And when you, someone darkened, I'll put the darkened version of the picture. When you darken the picture, it's very, very white. It's very, very white. I am an optimistic soul. I will believe a lot of things, but madam, that's quite the picture. And it makes it even worse when the last thing I've got clipped, there was more, but I just finished clipping because I went from utterly enraged at the fucking audacity of the trolling to pretty sad by about halfway through the cut. The initial watch was mainly rage at assuming we were all this stupid, but when I was cutting it, because I was going to do more of a traditional react to it, I just got sad. And that thing, oh, I swear on my grandma, I swear on everything dear to me, I'm not doing that. Most people would take that kind of seriously, but not right now. And even her chat are like, you told us addicts lying. She's like, yes, I did, but I'm not lying now. Like, obviously I'm the exception to the rule. I haven't been caught in lies before. Don't be ridiculous, as this person is right here and I have white on my nose. Guys, it's hard because I do have that part where I'm like, are you fucking serious? And I have the other part that's actually potentially watching her ruin herself, her life, or potentially die, which does not sit well with me at all. And I'm just, it's a lot, and it's making, the more I think about it, the more kind of I get over the initial anger and the more sad it gets. Like, I did a thing on this video which I have never done on Foodie before, and I went and left a comment on her video. And I don't do that. I'm just like, I do my react. If she wants to come over and listen to it, up to her. But in terms of personal interaction, it's not something I tend to do. I'm not gonna go leave hate in her comments, leave hate in her live chats, start interfering. It's not something I would condone doing in general, but it's not useful. for the most part. And I knew when I left the comment, and I will post the comment just so it's there, that it wasn't going to do anything. But I was at the point, as I was cutting and my emotions were developing, where I was like, you go with what you can live with, and okay, I'm not gonna, like, if it had started becoming drama, I would have just not replied to it, I would have left it. Chances are she was just gonna delete it, because on the pinned comment she left, oh, let's talk about the pinned comment. I'm so sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. She left a pinned comment on that video after, and I'll put it up on screen for you, but I'll read it super quick. Despite popular beliefs, I was not on cocaine or meth, etc. Madam, there are pictures. There are visible shots in the video, and there are screenshots of that video. I smoked a joint hours ago, lol. I am trying to keep certain things private, and yes, I'm not good at it, lol. Well, you don't say, live streaming from his fucking bed. You're not great with privacy? No. But I say earnestly, I doubt whatever's coming after is going to be earnest. Why does it matter who I am with as long as I'm sober and happy? We'll get to it. I know something that I'm having trouble with this sentence. Jesus. Guys, this won't be in the final edit, but I've tried to read this sentence 4 times and I'm struggling. I know something that depends on who I am with. Well, for now, I will try my best to respect our privacy. Love you all. Wow, that was harder than it should have been. There was some punctuation missing there. What I answered. Because sober and happy are key terms there. If I just didn't like a dude she was with, who the fuck am I? Like, you get to do your thing. But with all the indicators that it's Dom, despite the fact that she's denied it, that is a really big fucking piece to the puzzle when it comes to all of the addiction stuff that we've been discussing for a couple of months now. It is a really big part of the whole destructive arc she's been on. And given that she claimed for a while at least they were out of contact and he was like, do not call me, it doesn't seem a great thing that they are back in touch, if indeed they were ever out of touch. So it does matter that it's him particularly, because it's so intertwined with just the descent of her and her channel into what it currently is. So yes, it matters. Of course it matters. And if she was sober and happy, I'd have far less to say about it. I wouldn't have to like it, but I'd have far less to say about it. Interesting she's using the word sober here. I did incorrectly use sober when I meant clean. And there's been so much talk about her drinking recently that it feels like a deliberate use of the word, because you say, well, I said sober, I meant the alcohol, which is how her brain works a lot when she's like, well, it's not a lie because it's been true for 20 minutes. Well, it wasn't a lie because I was talking about the booze, and I have been off the booze. But I'm back on the coke, but don't worry about it. So I pointed out the 1633 time stamp, and I just said, look, I realize, like, if I were in her position and a reaction channel came to me and was like, gave some advice, even good advice, I wouldn't listen to it. I wouldn't listen to it, and I don't expect her to. But this is about what I can live with, and I have to at least make the comment. I have to at least say, look, I will not interact with you again, but please, for the love of God, get some help that has a chance in hell of sticking. So I left that comment on her channel. And I checked on it for like 10-15 minutes just to see if it would get moderated, because the pinned comment, which was the point I was making, but then I realized I hadn't mentioned it, the pinned comment had officially on her channel 1 response. I was like, that smells heavily of moderation. And I was waiting to see if my comment disappeared. I waited 10-15 minutes, nothing happened. I went to do my makeup to do this react. I came back and comments were entirely switched off. So clearly, I mean, I saw a few of the comments as I was going through. They were not massively supportive. Thankfully, they were not massively supportive. So I will watch whatever her next live stream is. I don't imagine the chat will go well for her, even as a members only chat, because this was a lot and it was done with a huge amount of glee. And it's just it's a terrible sign of what's to come. And this is where I start getting sad again, because the path she's on, it doesn't lead anywhere good. We don't know exactly where it leads. We don't know how far it leads, but it's leading somewhere. And when she hits that point, wherever it is, at the velocity she's going, the fallout zone for it is gonna be a hot mess. And I don't know what else to say about that. Because right now, it's death, destruction, ruin. It's losing her whole life to this. It's going too far with these nights out and then realizing she doesn't have money for rent and having to go crawling back to her family because they don't have the money for the deposit on the new place she's supposedly going to get. There were hints in this live stream that, you know, well, I went live from here because, you know, I'm gonna be in a new place, and maybe this was gonna be the new place, and wouldn't that be just a fucking awful thing? But there's been a lot of back and forth with that discussion, so we don't have anything concrete right now. But it's a horrible potential, isn't it? There are so many things that could go wrong with her life that would be terrible for her. But there's also just the end of it. There's her body giving out. There's the physical weaknesses she has that will eventually come to fruition. Or there's ruining her life in the process. When the best case scenario is that you ruin your life but you get to live it, that's usually a point to pause on. And that's not what she's doing. And I don't know what else to say about that, except I'm so worried. I'm actually really quite worried about it, and I know it's hard. I know with the fucking attitude, it's so hard to get to that place where you're like, no, this deserves maybe not sympathy but empathy. And I'm like, I can see why a lot of people are not gonna feel that about this, as she is reveling in the power not showing him gives her. But man, is this gonna come to call on her at some point? And I don't think she can afford to see where this leads in any sense of the word. And I guess ultimately that's all we can say. That's all we can do, is just be like, man, I hope when she hits wherever she's heading, the splatter zone isn't too horrific. Because that's all we got. And I guess we'll see where she is on the next stream. All right, guys, sorry to finish on a downer, but I will see you soon.